Ring the world, building things you should do from trust to thinking it's all a must. Your guide to what is money and trust. Legacy matters, secure it right. Dreams take shape with every insight. Rules and assets, life insurance plans. Good and play future with expert hands. Sometimes money and more, living well, not your asset protection plans to grow. To gain and watch your dreams overflow. From failure to danger, transfer life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, making tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. The biggest danger, transfer life. Breaking generational wealth divides. Healthcare directives, making tips. We're here to help your fortune eclipse. And now it's time to learn. So wisdom's your return. Invest, protect, and thrive for sure. Signing off is so top money and more.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's time to rise and shine for another edition of So Talks Money and More. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted, and I am so very excited to be here on this third day of Black History Month with our WMPR listening audience, our WGDQ listening audience, and our YouTube viewing audience. I don't know about you guys, but I had a great weekend. I was down in Macomb, Mississippi at the 6th annual We Lit Book Festival that was held this past weekend. And baby, it was a good time to be had down there. And I was just honored to be in the presence of all of the good people down in Pike County. Had an opportunity to reconnect with some good friends that I had not seen in 30 years. They actually heard me on the radio, decided to come over and surprise me. So I was very happy to see my friends. Very honored to have the opportunity to serve as both a workshop presenter and one of the featured authors. Shared the stage with about 14 other authors, and two of those authors were young folks, high schoolers. So I'm very proud of what our children are doing. I think with all the efforts that are underway right now to rewrite history, it is very important now more than ever for us to tell our own stories. So shout out to Miss Clanisha Sibley and all of those with us affiliated with SMICE for putting on a very, very good event this past weekend. I'd also like to take this time to start my show by sending get well wishes to my good friend and supporter, Pastor Milton Miles, who is under the weather right now. We'll be having some testing done today, and we're praying for you, Pastor Miles. We love you, and we are trusting that everything will work out the way it is supposed to. As I told you yesterday, you can't keep a good man down, so I know you will rebound very, very soon. Just know that we are thinking of you. So for our show today, I'd like to extend what I would say is the last call. But before I do that, let me ask you to think about a few things. This past week, we as a nation experienced one of the most devastating commercial airline incidents in many, many years, actually since 2009. 64 passengers traveling on a flight from Wichita, Kansas, headed to our nation's capital, lost their lives when the plane on which they were traveling collided with a Black Hawk military jet that was being operated by 3 military personnel who also unfortunately perished in that accident. My heart certainly goes out to the families who lost loved ones on that flight. It gets worse. Just a day later, There was another flight where 7 people perished in an accident. I believe a young child had been at Shriners Hospital, one of the next Mexican nationals. Um, and the doctor and the crew was taking the child back home after being ill and coming to the United States for some much needed treatment. I think the family was very hopeful that things were going well when unfortunately the plane on which they were traveling crashed. Again, my heart goes out to those families who have lost loved ones in such tragic accidents. I've spent some time reading some of the articles that have been written in attempts to put names and faces to these people who have perished recently in these devastating events. And I've been very moved by their stories, but in particular, the final messages that some of the passengers sent out to their loved ones. Things like, can't wait to get home. One lady actually texted her husband and told him she would be landing in 20 minutes. See you in 20 minutes. There was a lot of excitement about getting home and getting back to families and getting back to the familiar. But I can say this, I'm sure none of those individuals that perished in either of those flights had a clue that when they sent out those messages, that would be their last call. Last call. There were a variety of people on the plane. They came from all walks of life and different backgrounds. And my heart just aches when I think about all of the children that perished on the plane. We had many skaters, many from the skating community that were preparing and had hopes and dreams of one day competing in the Olympics. They were preparing themselves. You had wives and daughters and attorneys, students that perished on that plane. Now, I've been talking about estate planning for a while and just highlighting the importance of why it is something that we all need to do. And as I've said before, we can talk about things until we're blue in the face, but only when we take action do things actually happen. And I can tell you this, I am sure that not one of those individuals, not one of those individuals who perished on that plane, and even their families had a clue that that would be the last call that they had from their family members. So I have a question this morning for each of you who are listening to my voice. If you made your last call today, would your business affairs be in order? I want you to hear me, so I'm going to say that again. If you made your last call today, would your business affairs be in order? Put another way, if tomorrow didn't come for you, people, would your affairs be in order? How long would it take your family after your untimely demise? How long would it take your family to even sort through your business matters? How long would it take them to find the insurance policies, or even if there are any insurance policies in place? How long would it take them to figure that out? How long would it take them to find the extra set of keys to the car? How long would it take? Have you done what you need to do to prepare your family? After all, these are the people we say we love, right? So of course we want the best for them. How long would it take? What have you done? Would your family even know where to look? Now, I'm not psychic, but I would venture to say, for those of you who are actually listening to me, 70% of you guys have not done anything. I'm not judging. I'm not criticizing. I'm not critiquing. I'm simply stating the statistics. 70% of those of us in the Black community don't even have a will in place. So, how will our families know what our intentions are? How will our families know? My question again would be, why? Why don't you have anything in place? We all know we didn't come here to stay. We know we're going to die one day. Why would we continue to do the same thing knowing that we're not going to get any different results? Here's the deal, my friends. Even if you don't take the time to get your affairs in order, even if you don't take the time to do anything to protect the assets that you've spent a lifetime working for, even if you don't have a plan for your estate, trust me, your state has a plan. They have a plan for your estate. Now, if you're fine with that and you choose not to do anything about it, hey, I'm fine with it too, because that's your stuff, not mine. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And it's time for us to do some things very differently. Very differently. Again, I've been talking about this for a while, and I'm tired of talking. In fact, my voice is my throat is hurting a little bit this morning because it's time to stop talking and start putting some things in place. It's time to start taking some action. And I'm talking to everybody, all of you. There's no shame in not knowing. The shame comes in knowing and not doing. That's where the shame comes in. I was told my husband is a Nissan employee, and many of you know that. So it's no secret. I'm not going to try to hide that. And a lot of you know what's going on with Nissan right now. And if you don't know, turn the news on, read some information about what's going on in and around us. The company is pretty much doing what the federal government is doing, but not necessarily trying to force people out, but they're offering the option to leave. They're called buyouts or early retirements, and that's being offered to many of the Nissan employees, as I understand it. And I know right now it's about 7:13 a.m. in the morning, so many of them are probably going through the turnstiles right about now, rushing, trying to get to that line and make sure they clock in on time. So they may not be listening to the show, but if you're listening and you have a family member that works at Nissan, tell them Dr. Williams said, make sure when you take that buyout, or if you take that buyout, that you take the time to put some things in place. Don't get excited. I know that money that they're offering you, many of you will probably have never had that much money in your hand at one time. And it's okay. I know we sometimes get excited about money, but it's time for us to start thinking beyond the right here and the right now. Because trust me, the money will run out. It's going to run out, especially if you don't know what to do with money. Point in case, there was a young man that a few years ago when Nissan offered the early buyout, took the buyout, got the money, got excited, went out and bought a new car, new truck, a lot of fancy clothes and shoes and all of these things that we spend our monies on. Well, unfortunately, what he didn't do was make preparations. He didn't have a plan in place. And the good Lord called him home last year. So he leaves behind loved ones, one in particular who is disabled. No forethought was put in place, or a plan was developed for how this disabled loved one would be cared for once he was not here. I'm talking to my people this morning, and I'm talking to you from the heart. It's time to start doing some things differently. Let's not get excited once we get money in our hand and run out and do the same things that we've always done. Let's not get excited about new cars. You should not be excited about a new car. You touch new cars every day. You work on a assembly line, manufacturing cars. Don't get excited by that. Don't get distracted. Think about your family. Think about your loved ones and what your legacy will be. Think about it. This is the last call. The last call, you guys. I'm here to help you, but you have to want to help yourself. You have to want to help yourself. Caller, I see you. Hold on 1 second. Here I come. WMPR, thank you for calling in. Dr. Williams, you're on the air.
Yeah, Dr. Hey, how you doing, Dr. Williams?
I'm very well. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Can I talk to you when you get off the air?
Yes, ma'am. Call me back.
Okay, call me. You see my number?
Okay, I'm not in a position to take it down, so let me ask you to do this. Call me back, okay? Call me back here at the station. Give me about 15 minutes and I'll be off air.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling in, sweetie.
You're welcome.
This is the last call. Dr. Williams is here to help you, but you got to take the first step, people. I am offering a 6-week virtual estate planning boot camp that will begin tomorrow. Now, if you're sitting there listening to me this morning, I don't care if you're in Jackson, Hattiesburg, or anywhere else under the sound of my voice. If you can sit there and listen to me talk this morning, knowing that if you died today, you have nothing in place for your family to make sure that your assets transfer properly, shame on you. I am offering you help to get it done. This class begins tomorrow. It will meet weekly. We will meet virtually. So you don't have to physically show up at a location. Just walk in your living room. Sit down in front of your computer. But it's time to get this done once and for all. Enrollment in this virtual estate planning workshop is going to be limited. And there are only 10 seats available, 10 left. If you're ready to implement, I'm ready to help you. I urge you, don't delay. Go ahead and act today, because tomorrow is not promised. Just like those people got on that plane last week, tomorrow isn't promised. Go ahead and do what you know you need to do. Now, I know there are some that will say, well, I don't have time. Well, guess what? When it's your time is going to be up. And the mess that you leave behind, your family will have to deal with. I know there will be some that will say, well, I can't attend all sessions. I can't come for 6 weeks straight. Don't use that as an excuse. The sessions will be recorded. You can watch the replays, listen to the replays. It's time to get some things done, my people. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You guys see, just like I see, what's going on in our country, in our nation right now. The same person that was in office when we had a pandemic of epidemic proportions is back in office again. And who knows what will happen this time. So I'm thinking about all of those people that I thought about back in 2019 when my heart was pricked to write my book. They didn't have anything in place. They left going to the hospital, many of them, with every expectation that they would be helped, healed, and returned to their homes. But we know over 1 million people died during the pandemic. Many of them, probably most of them, had nothing in place. And if you lost a family member during the pandemic and you had to deal with all the aftermath that came with burying someone, getting all their business matters in order, and let's not even get started on all the heirs' property that was left behind because we didn't have things properly titled so that it would transfer properly. Come on, people. When are we as a community going to get tired of dealing with that? When are we as a community going to get sick and tired of having to pass the hat to bury our loved ones? When does it get old? When do we get tired of not having anything or very little to transfer to the next generation? So everybody has to start from zero. Because I struggle, then that means my children need to struggle and their children need to struggle. When do we overcome that way of thinking? Now, some of us have progressed. Yeah, we have. We want a better life for our children. We've done some things differently, but we haven't done everything that we need to do, people. We have not gotten our final affairs in order. And it's time out for that. It's one thing when you don't know, but it's another when someone tells you. And one of the things Dr. Williams did not want, I did not want my people to continue perishing for a lack of knowledge. So he who has ears, let him hear. But don't just hear, it's time to do. It's time to be implementers. It's time to get your business fixed, people. Now, for those of you that are interested in getting the help that you know you need, it's not about what Dr. Williams knows. It's what you know in your heart that you need. Go ahead and register for this boot camp. Go to my website, www.iamseWnoted.co. Again, www.iamseWnoted.co. I did not say .com, so please don't go to .com because you won't find me there. .co. Don't use this as an excuse not to sign up because you're worried. You're worried that you can't take all the classes. You're worried that you don't really want to face your own mortality. Don't use these as excuses to continue not doing what we know we need to do. If you have kids, I implore you, my single moms, you have kids, you got to think about putting some things in place so that when you are not here, if you're not here, your kids are good. My dads, my black men, let me get on y'all for a while. My black men, you have families. What happens if something happens to you? What have you done to make sure that your family is good? What have you done? And if you have not done what you know you need to do, there is no reason for you not to sign up for this boot camp. No reason at all. Now, for those of you that would say, well, how much does it cost? Well, it's not free. It's not free. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. But it's not priced where you cannot afford it either. Don't get so caught up in the price. Think more about the cost. What is it going to really cost you and your family if you do nothing? What does it cost your family for you to do nothing? Think about it. When you go to the doctor, you never ask how much is it? No. When you're sick, you want help. You think about the price and the cost on the back end. So here is my offer, you guys. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to do everything that I know to do to be a servant to my community, to help my community overcome where we are, to help build your knowledge and your confidence so that when you do pass on, you can rest knowing that you have done what you need to do to leave your family secure. With that being said, this is the last call, you guys. Last call. I'm making this opportunity available to you. This is the course is actually priced very reasonably. It's an introductory price. I will be offering these classes on a rotating basis, but the price will not be the same after this introductory session. So I'm going to tell you that if you want to get in, now is the time to go ahead and get in into the class if cost or price is your concern. We're here to help you. I hope you hear my heart this morning. I'm here to help you, but I can't baby you. I can't sugarcoat it for you. I can't sit here and continue watching people die in mass and act like there's no reason to ring the alarm. Stop handling estate planning like it's important and not urgent. This is a serious matter. Now, our time is coming to an end. I'm looking at this clock up here, and my God, that 30 minutes passes very quickly, but I know I've got to get out of here and make room for Mr. Tim Henderson. I think I hear him out in the hallway. I thank you, those of you who have tuned in this morning, either to the radio or to view me on YouTube. I see I have some comments over on my YouTube, so I thank you for tuning in. I invite you to follow me on social media at I Am So Noted on Facebook and YouTube, and that's IAMSEW NOTED. And I Am So Noted _ on Instagram. Also, be sure to stream our live programming at WMPR 90.1.cmo.com and 93.1 WGDQ.com. Stream us. Follow us when you can't catch us on the radio. I know here at the station we sometimes have a little difficulties, especially when the weather is bad with our tower going down, but there's no reason to not follow us. You can catch us online. And remember this, you guys, this is the last call. This is the last call for you to get the help that you know you need. The help that you know you need. This is the last call for me to help you get your affairs in order. Now, the boot camp starts tomorrow. There are only 10 spots left. If you know your stuff is not in order, then you should say it's only 9 left because my name is on one of them. Don't leave your legacy to chance. Leave a legacy of choice. Not someone else's choice because they didn't work for it. You did. Leave a legacy of choice. Trust me now. Thank me later. This is Dr. Williams, you guys. Join me right here next Monday at 7 a.m. If it's 7 a.m., so is Talking Money and More. Peace.
Let's rise and shine, so talks money, the future's aligned. Grab your coffee, let's take a ride. It's wealth and wisdom, time will fly. Author, Mr. Educator, too, sharing the wealth, building things you should do. From trust to thinking, it's all a must. Your guide to what is learning to trust. Legacy, life, secure it right. Dreams
Byron,
to share.